Hello and welcome. Today I would like to talk a little bit about the AI and all this fuss that's happening around AI and you typing in a kind of a sentence or a few words and then there is a beautiful image coming out or there is a beautiful text coming out. These are techniques, apps or algorithms, we call them GPT3, Midjourney, Dalle, and the one that I've been working on for quite some time, Alice or Ask Alice. So I would like to put Ask Alice in the context of these guys here, and I would like to talk a little bit about what are a kind of beautiful notions around working with these guys and what would be something which is a kind of a shortcut. Or in other words, how do I write a text if I have all the texts in the world at my fingertips? Or how do I take a picture or how do I make a picture if pictures are all around me? What's happening today with this kind of prompt thing is that whoever wants to create an image or write a text has it under its fingertips. So your mom can do it, your father can do it, your grandmother, your grandfather, everyone can do it just by typing it into a kind of an app, and a beautiful image is coming out. But what does it mean? There is something strange and funny here, and I think John Oliver is somehow there.
I wanted to talk about AI because there is a new popular trend that you may have heard about.
It seems like everyone is talking about these websites that use artificial intelligence to generate images. It's all because of a tool named Dalle, which comes from a startup named OpenAI. You type in a description of something you want to see, and a computer creates realistic images to match. The fun part is you can be really elaborate with your descriptions. The system was trained with 650 million pictures, and the results are some of the best we've seen from computers yet.
Yeah, AI image generators. There are a number of them out there now, like Dalle, Crayon, and Midjourney. And with each one, you simply type in a text prompt, and it'll create images for you in around a minute. So, for instance, you might type in, let's say, a roast beef superhero. Now, what does that look like? Is it a superhero made of roast beef? Is it a superhero that saves roast beef? Is it both? I have no idea. But here's what Midjourney's AI created based on that phrase. And I have to say, well played, robot. There's the fantastic roast beef superhero logo, the mild-mannered roast beef hero with legs for arms and no lower body, the headless roast beef hero holding a roast beef cane of justice, and the helmet-wearing America-shaped cut of roast beef.
But let's now look at this from another perspective. This is what Midjourney and Dalle are offering us. But what happens if we take this roast beef superhero, what John Oliver did, and we just paste it in Google? So what kind of roast beef superhero will we get then? What's interesting is that John Oliver's roast beef superhero will already be a part of the Google search. So this is a kind of a thing that I'm kind of aiming at. How is this Midjourney different than Google? So basically Midjourney, Google, Alice, deep learning, so all of this, yes, they are different techniques, but they're quite similar in what they are doing. So I would say that with Midjourney and this creation of images from text prompt, we are in principle just extending the database of Google. And the major difference, in my opinion, between this here and Google is exactly in the relationships. So what Midjourney, Dalle, and these kind of guys are offering us, they are giving us images, but these images are always lonely images. There are no links, there are no references. They're almost like finished products of a certain search. What Google is offering us is the links of those objects to the whole internet. So for instance, now Midjourney results are already a part of it, and they are related to John Oliver, and they are related to the TV show, and they are related to who knows what. So for instance, if we have here another one, which is a kind of an offspin of it, and it's coming from Twitter, and then we can click and go to Twitter, and then we can check what's going on. So it's the roast beef superhero, Google AI generator, and it's related to John Oliver. So just by John Oliver creating this show in the search, we have the show, we have John Oliver, we have the roast beef, and we have links that are going all around. So in principle, if we want to work with these things, then we get a spectrum of different relationships. And I think what AI today is, it's really about creating relationships to different things. So we have a lot of data, we have a lot of things, we find certain things that we like, and then we go with it on a kind of an interesting journey. The shortcut in my understanding is if we only get an image. And then it's a kind of difficult to get out of this kind of locked moment. And with it, we think of this image as a fixed object. So I would like to give you like a few examples of which I think are able to deal with this thing in a nice way. So how to look at this image, for instance, what Mario Klingemann is doing with his Botto project, is he's not using Midjourney, but he's using kind of deep learning and AI in a different way. But these images that he is getting here, they are not end products, they are not finished products. They are part of a certain ecology or of a certain world, of a certain planet where Botto lives. And Botto is a decentralized autonomous artist. So he's a kind of a brother or a friend of Alice, I would say. So what Botto works with, he works with a kind of an engine which creates images. They're coming from a specific database, and he's producing a collection every week. With this collection, we have a kind of community which is then liking or disliking, on suggesting, on the editing of the database. Then we have a kind of a token which exists on NFT, and then through this token we can sell these artworks, and then we can again put the money and the value that we have found there into the community, into the Botto, and we are kind of creating a circular loop of things which are going on, which are related to a specific technology, to a specific database, to a specific understanding of aesthetics, to economy. So it's a kind of circle of things which all together, I would say, create an artwork. So I would say that this image by itself is not enough. What we need is the whole world which is happening around it. And I think Mario Klingemann with Botto and with the ecosystem around it is able to create this kind of an artwork. And what's interesting is that John Oliver is kind of, after exploring all these things that he was doing, he's at the same point like me. Let's look what's happening later with John Oliver.
Look at it right now. The AI program nailed all of its other assignments, but this image, the key image in the whole story, the pivot point to the tragedy that follows, was somehow beyond its capabilities, which seems like such a shame. This story deserved better. Post-poop zoomies deserved better, as did Margaret. We all...
So John Oliver is getting married to a cabbage. That's the story, and this is coming out from Midjourney.
It's for me to provide it for you now, but not through graphics. No, that would be far too easy. I'm thinking more of a full, vibrant tableau that brings it all home. So please.
So John Oliver is somehow not happy with the performance of AI with his marriage to a cabbage, and this is what he proposes instead. And I think it's fantastic. And basically what John Oliver is giving us is a whole set of links and whole set of atmospheres, a specific music, a cabbage, a dressing for the cabbage. He invites an actor, and it's a specific actor in a specific atmosphere, in a specific setting. So he is, in principle, creating an image of his wedding, and this image has a depth and has all the links that, in principle, were unconceivable by Midjourney or these kind of techniques.
And do you promise not to eat it in your sleep?
I'll try my very best, but I think we both know what might well happen.
Okay.
Okay, and the last example, now I would like to shift from images towards text. And let's look at the famous algorithm for creating text in comparison to Ask Alice. So this is, it's called Writing, and it's based on GPT-3. So what we want to do here is to get a text in English language. This text should be convincing. It should be, let's say, a kind of a blog section, writing of a blog section. And then we want to talk about artificial intelligence. And the keywords should be, again, artificial intelligence. And I want to have 2 variants, and I want my creativity level to be on optimal. So let's see what GPT-3 can do for me. So what I think is interesting with these techniques is that they are actually able to get from a prompt like this a kind of a nice text. So what does it say? Artificial intelligence is a branch of computer science that deals with the creation of intelligent machines. It is also known as machines intelligence or sometimes strong AI as opposed to weak AI. AI is capable of learning from data and make decisions based on patterns in the data. The way this happens is called machine learning. There are many ways to categorize artificial intelligence. Some examples are hierarchical, functional, and logical types. And it goes so on. But I think what these kind of things or Midjourney are good for is, like, for instance, with Google Phone, if you take a picture, then you have all these algorithms that make your picture better, and it's based on all the previous images. This text is coming from somewhere, yeah? And it's working very nicely if this is a chatbot for chatting about your appointment at the dentist or these kind of things. But if you want to work with this text, it's kind of tricky to work with it, huh? You don't know where to refer, what are the links, where is this coming from, what to do with this thing. So this thing is in a way lonely and, in my understanding, a little bit dead. So you need a lot of work and a lot of imagination to get something out of it. On the other hand, for instance, if we work with Alice, and let's try to have a similar kind of query. So we will take the biggest library and we want to talk about intelligence. Intelligence, and then we want to see what is artificial intelligence. And let's now ask it, yeah? So what we get now is an answer which is coming from 1,500 books, and we have more than 10,000 results. Let's be a little bit more precise and narrow it down to a fewer number. So let's say to 200. And look at this now. We have Asimov, a link, and then we have some kind of quote. This sort of environment is made for an artificial intelligence. If we want to see a context of this, we just expand it. If we want to read it in a book, we click and there is a book coming. So I think here, what for me is interesting is that I try to leave as many different traces as possible so that one can later imagine working with this in different ways. So this artificial intelligence is coming from science fiction. This one here, with Russell and Norvig, these are the guys that developed Google, yeah? So this is an issue at the foundation of artificial intelligence. So if we want to see what is an issue at the foundation, we look at the context, we open the book, we check. And then we have a lot of different results here. Or for instance, with Hofstadter, he's very nice. So you see there are many different ways how we can enter into it. This is what artificial intelligence research is all about. What exactly? The context, and then we can look. And the strange flavor of AI work is that people try to put together long sets of rules in a strict formalisms and so on. So you see how the flavor is kind of changing. And that is what artificial intelligence research is hoping to find. Or for instance, with Michel Serre, we are going again to a different to a different place. What is he saying? The palate of the discriminating taster makes more precise judgments than 1,000 machines. The most sophisticated machine is made from the flesh and living being. The only failing of artificial intelligence is its lack of body. Again, a different flavor. So I think what is interesting here is to start playing and working with all of these different techniques. And in my taste, in my personal opinion, I think it's always more fruitful to work and to think with instruments like Alice and Google, which in principle open up as many different links as possible and leave the moment of creation for us. So we are kind of putting things together and creating, making, articulating, making new constitutions for new objects. Unlike, in my understanding, I would say small shortcuts that GPT-3, Midjourney and Dalle are making, if we want to look at them from the position of one that wants to articulate and make something which is new and interesting. I think here, if we are using these guys, we have to be very careful not to use their images as finished products, but to play with them, for instance, like Botto or John Oliver were doing, so taking them as kind of inspiration for further development. So I would ask you, of course, to try to use and play with Alice and write some kind of texts which offer as many links as possible for your writing. Thank you very much, and I hope this was an interesting way of trying to look on what AI might be today.